Please welcome Pauline van Dongen.
This morning, you were standing in front of your wardrobe, deciding what to wear for today's event. Maybe you even bought something new for the occasion. Now, I wonder whether at those moments you sometimes think about what fashion means to you. First of all, it serves to protect our bodies. We can call it a language, because it's a way to communicate our identity. But are you aware of how clothing affects the way you feel and act, both physically and emotionally? And this intimate dialogue between our bodies and clothing is what makes it a very powerful medium. And this is why I believe it's such an interesting platform to integrate technology in a very intuitive way. For those of you who are not familiar with the term wearable technology, the spacesuit may very well illustrate its greatest potential. The combination of technology and textile will makes us reach extraordinary places and extends our human capabilities. The reason I'm proposing this new direction is because I'm very concerned about the future of fashion and its industry. Because let's be honest, how can we even start to appreciate something that is made with the speed of fast fashion and that is sold way too cheaply? I integrate new materials and electronics in clothing to create new types of behavior and interaction that can contribute to the way that we experience our surroundings. And this is how I aim to develop new meaning and value for fashion. But marrying textile and technology is not that simple. Designs that are made with regular electrical wire will always remain a prototype. Our biggest challenge is to come up with robust and scalable solutions. Right now, for instance, we can produce flexible electronics by printing very thin layers of conductive ink onto plastic substrates. And this is one of the modules that I created with Hall Center. By applying heat and pressure, we can laminate them directly onto the textile. So this shows that technology is not only a tool. I also consider it an aesthetic, because this circuit with solar cells actually contributes to a graphic and distinct feature. With these modules, I created this solar shirt. It incorporates 120 solar cells, and it demonstrates how you can generate sustainable energy through your clothing. In that sense, clothing is no longer a static envelope or cover around our body. I would like to call it an intimate interface. Because as a wearer, you're now actively using your shirt. And your shirt is in continuous interaction with its surroundings, in this case, the sun. Earlier I mentioned how technology can add new value to fashion. And one of those values is the aspect of personalization. I don't think that many of you had the privilege to buy a tailor-made design. And I'm calling it a privilege because, first of all, it's quite expensive. But it's also a type of craftsmanship that is almost getting extinct. Nowadays, everything is mass-produced. It's very much trend-driven, and it's causing a lot of overproduction. But with digital fabrication tools like 3D scanning, 3D modeling, 3D printing, we can actually unite the craft of tailoring with present-day manufacturing. And this is how we can produce more sustainable, on-demand, and we can even have our customers play a role in the design process. So as a designer, I'm not only interested in using technology in terms of electronics and hardware, but also in terms of software. So we use programming tools like generative design to create algorithms that can create variable patterns. And by using a 3D body scan, we can adapt these patterns towards a specific body. So every body creates a unique pattern. And after developing these patterns digitally, we always apply them to the human body. We start exploring them in real life. And what you see here is we created a two-dimensional surface made by laser cutting. And we explore how this 2D surface can actually become a three-dimensional texture depending on body movement. Because I believe that the future of fashion lies in its premise to be dynamic, adaptive and changing, both in the way that we make it, using these generative software tools, but also in the way that materials act on the human body. So with digital design, we can make perfectly fitting items. But the other great opportunity is that we can now program and engineer our own materials and their behavior pixel by pixel. Now take a look at your own shoes. How many materials must have been used to make it? Each material has its own characteristics, but after gluing them all together, it's very difficult to take them apart, to recycle them. So what if we could use only one single material for such a shoe? Together with two fellow researchers of the University of Technology in Eindhoven, I created a fully 3D printed shoe for our minister, Jet Bussemaker. She was wearing them last Tuesday on Prinsjesdag. We made a foot scan, first of all, and then with this generative software we mapped a pattern of resilient lines onto it. And unlike most of the 3D printed shoes out there, which are very rigid, we started to use a flexible filament. And by changing the structure and the density of the material, we were able to create a very sturdy heel that could carry our weight, but at the same time, the surface was very flexible and comfortable. So wearable technology is not just about measuring heart rate and other biometrics. With my recent project, Phototrope, I want to show that we can also create new types of expression for clothing. It started actually with my own frustration as a runner wearing these flashy, light armbands. And I felt the need to create something that would be more beautiful and more comfortable to wear, providing safety at night. What I like about working with technology is that I try to use functional requirements and translate them into aesthetic opportunities. So it's not about simply stitching this LED ribbon on a shirt, but looking at materials that can create a different effect of the light. And this is how I started using a prismatic foil, which actually refracts the light in a very vibrant and multi-colored way. And also working with these technologies, working with the light and the foil, made me come up with new types of constructions and shapes that I normally would maybe not even have run into. So now I'd like you to experience both of the designs up close. Currently we're working on the further development of this to be able to create a commercial product out of it. This dynamic and responsive behavior that I was talking about before is something that we're now building into this design. So the light won't simply be on and off. We can also have it adapt to surrounding light levels. Next to that, we're developing an application that can be used in a training context. So a trainer can actually direct the light in different shirts of his team members and play exercises of games that can enhance their performance. We tend to think that technology alienates us from the world around us. But I hope to have shown you today that it can also contribute to valuable new ways of embodied experience and interaction. Thank you.
This is the human test, a test to see if you are a human. Please raise your hand if something applies to you. Are we agreed?